I said patriarchy, in and of itself, the first definition that comes up, is not a bad thing. So that already got me in trouble.
Listen, let me get in trouble with you. That is the part that they miss. They will take the exception to the rule and try to convince themselves and others.
I had a conversation, and I want to see what you think about this. This conversation got me in trouble. I'm not sure if you caught wind of any of this. I was on your cousin's, Lecrae's pod.
Yep.
Beautiful conversation, great conversation.
Yeah. He's a great podder.
And we this conversation of women and marriage and dynamics came up, patriarchy, so on and so forth. And you talked about young women wanting that marriage, right? And I made a point, and it got me in trouble with some of his audience.
Okay.
A lot of women didn't like this.
Okay.
But this is what I said. So you didn't catch wind of any of this?
No.
Okay, good. So we had a conversation. We're talking about patriarchy, and I said this. I said patriarchy, in and of itself, the first definition that comes up, is not a bad thing. Because patriarchy just means the man is the head of the household. That's the clinical definition. Then the second definition is like a system of power structure where women are, right? But the first definition is like the man is the patriarch of the family is the man, not the matriarch, but the patriarch. So that already got me in trouble. Then we talked, because he clipped that in the intro, which, by the way, shout out to the team, Lecrae, everybody, y'all killed that intro.
Right.
But then we got into women and how a lot of what's being pushed on women is that, hey, you need to be independent, you need to be educated, you need to have a career. Oh, and by the way, you also want to be married and be a mom and have a bad body,
right?
And all these different things, right?
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. And I pointed to real data, and I went and researched more data on this. So here's what the data shows. Forbes Woman did a study, and they found out that 86%, according to Forbes Woman, of working women want a season of life where they can stay home and be moms. They want to be stay-at-home moms. 86% of working women want that. 1/3 of those women will grow to have a disdain and a frustration with their husband if he doesn't provide that for them. They will grow frustrated with them. This is according to Forbes Women. So 86% of women, of working women.
This sounds like according to 92% of the women that are in my life that I talk to.
Right?
Yep.
And so that's what Forbes Women is saying. This isn't Christian women. This is conservative women. This isn't tradcons. This is women, working women.
Yep.
There's a study, 2 other studies. One was 64%, one was 56%, found the same thing. Working women with kids 18 and under would have preferred to stay home and be moms had they been given the opportunity to. And if they don't, they'll oftentimes grow resentful of their husband. So my conversation was like, hey, here's what the data shows. There's a thing called biology that, like, once you have a baby, it changes something in you.
Yep.
And respectfully, I'm not trying to speak to women.
Right.
Like that, I don't need to do that. Like Lisa Bevere does a great job of that.
Absolutely.
I don't need to have that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to equip the men.
Correct.
To say, hey,
yeah,
these women out here.
Absolutely. They don't want you working at FedEx 17 hours a day.
Yeah. They
forever.
They don't really want to be the breadwinner, dog.
Yeah, they don't.
They want you to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so in light of the economy and inflation and all these things, this is something we should be prepared for and equip young men for, specifically 18 to 25.
Right.
My nephew works with me. He's 19. We're trying to drill this into him.
Yeah.
That, listen, at some point, bro, you're going to get married and your wife is going to want to stay home when you have kids.
Right.
Start making better decisions, because the future version of you is depending on the present version of you to make good decisions.
Facts.
Somehow, according to a segment of Lecrae's audience, this was chopped into misogyny.
Oh, because they only heard patriarchy.
Yeah.
That's all they heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity.
Well, listen, let me get in trouble with you. So here's my thing, bro. There are things that God has designed for people in a male body to do that he has not designed for a female body to do. just biologically, he's designed that to be different, right? In its execution. It's not to say that one or the other or both don't have the capacity.
Or there's not exceptions to the rule.
Or there's not exceptions to the rule. Yeah. That is the part that they miss. They will take the exception to the rule and try to convince themselves and others that it's the rule. It's not. And it never has been. Right? So while somebody's gonna be triggered. Trigger alert. I have a friend of mine who is one of the most certified pilots in the whole country, if not the world.
Is it?
She owns, I think, 4 airplanes, and she can fly anything. She's unbelievable. There are not 1 million women trying to break into aviation. And there never will be.
Oof. You definitely get in trouble for this, Tim.
Are there going to be 1 million? Is that the aspiration of 1 million women?
I don't think so.
To be pilots?
Yeah, I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is it the aspiration of 1 million women to be peace officers? Is it the aspiration of 1 million women to lay railroad tracks? To climb up telephone poles? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
To work on oil rigs in the middle of off the Gulf of Mexico? Like, is there? Like, if that's the case, I want to be an advocate.
Yeah.
If 1 million of my sisters are trying to get into those industries, let my sisters in, right? I will be the male voice that's like, why y'all not letting my sisters in? Like, I'll go straight hood like, hey, dog, how come y'all didn't take her application? How come you only taking Frank's application?
Yeah.
Michelle out here, she went on that rig, dog. But there's not 1 million
There's
of them.
not 1 million of them.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's celebrate Oprah and Beyonce and Ivy for doing these incredible things and Cynthia Marshall, right? Like women, everybody knows I'm an advocate for women. And there are things that God has designed and given authority to men to do that he's not given authority to women, for women to do. And it's biological and it's spiritual. And there's even 2 exceptions to that. You can look in scripture and see that there are exceptions to that.
Yep.
But it wasn't like the daughters of Zelophehad was 800,000 women trying to find their right to have land in Israel. It was a mitigating circumstance that had to be addressed with, and God was like, bro, don't even think about this. Let them get the land, right? So we could look Old Testament, New Testament. There's enough there. If there was 1 million women trying to be pastors, I would be like, what's the problem? Don't we have to disciple these people? Is this going to be an issue for everybody? But there ain't 1 million women trying to lead churches. There's a few. And maybe in those instances, this is exactly what's needed. Here's where my mind always goes, especially with what I just told you. Some of these there's too many male hoes. He's like, just get a woman in here.
Or if it's I'm personally not for a woman being a lead pastor, but if it's in North Korea and there's no churches, if it's in China and there's an underground church and all that's there is a woman. If it's Baltimore and all the dudes are hoes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I say. God will make exceptions. Here's the most insulting part to me about this, and I started seeing other women push back on some of this is that the notion that a stay-at-home mom doesn't do anything. Crazy. Like that's the most insulting. They've already put a valuation that the job alone would be in the 6 figures. Yes. Mid to high 6 figures. That's everything a stay-at-home mom has to do to say that that's not work. Oh, you just.
But it's triggering in a culture where Andrew Tate has done his red pill dissertation.
Sure.
And then the pink pill for the girls?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah.
Right? Like, or the blue, I don't know what it is. But then the girls are low-key feminists, and we don't need a guy for anything until we need a guy.
Until we need a guy.
For
so we
something.
need somebody to build the roads and work on the oil rigs.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I just think it's why conversations are important and sound bites suck.
Oh yeah.
And we're doing a better, I think we are doing a better job where we're just starting to say, even with our content, let's just put out the stuff that helps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
the thing is, when the conversations don't happen, then Andrew Tate says something that's common sense.
Right.
And because of all the weird stuff he backdoors and he represents, then all of a sudden that get categorized. But don't let the weird stuff cause you to have a traumatic reaction to the stuff he's saying that's common sense.
For example, I saw a clip, this lady and her really big son knock on the door of this house. This guy answers the door. And she's like, "Did you put your hand on my son?" He was like, "Yeah. I caught him in my house in the bed with my daughter. I didn't punch him. I roughed him up a bit. I yanked him up off my daughter. He knew the rules of my house. They supposed to stay in the living room. I had to let him know. You don't put your hands on my son." This is a single mom defending her 16, 17-year-old son.
This is an actual viral video you saw.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, I think this young man respects dude more than he respects his mom. Because he knew what he did was wrong. Any dad is going to do this.
Yeah.
My dad roughed up my brother, Miles, for being... He was dating a girl, and her mom caught them and called home. My dad went nuclear on my. That's what a daddy's supposed to do, bro. You're supposed to respect women. What is you doing?
Yep.
We're not letting this happen, right? So, especially you have zero chill. You doing it in the parents' house. Like, this is crazy. So it's out of bounds. But she looks so crazy. Like, instead of coming over and being like, "Hey, I don't like the fact that you roughed up my boy, but good looking out. I respect you." She's over there trying to advocate for her son. And this is why her son is going to stay soft or going to despise women. Because this mama would not boundary herself and respect the role of this man.
Protecting his daughter. Yeah.
And her son.
Yep.
This is what the son hasn't been getting from the mama and can't ever get from the mama.
That's good.
You don't get to have Mother's Day and Father's Day. It's Mother's Day for a reason, right? Unless you just want dinner and socks. I think you're being a little greedy if you want both. But damn. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You get dinner. We get socks. We get ties. You know what I mean? We get nothing, right? Like, so, but I'm not over here and like this victim, like it's a thankless job to be a man and there's so much, like we were built for this. And I don't want my wife taking that off of my shoulders. I was built, I am, my wife can rest under me because I'm resting under Christ.
That's good.
We all got headship around here. I'm not telling her that I'm her head at the expense of me being submitted to somebody. It's God and Jesus and me and her and the kids. That ain't no power structure.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you want to see the full conversation, we went for 3 hours talking about literally everything. Be sure to go to Tim Ross's YouTube page, right now, Tim Ross in the Basement. We'll have the full conversation linked below, or this video should be redirecting to it. So check out the full conversation and download the B-Side app while you're at it. All right, love you guys. Peace.